evening, keepers of the cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here. And as you can see, we have a full show tonight. So joining me as every Thursday night, we have Digger Jim. Jim, what's up, buddy?
Man, I'm just happy to be here and see these awesome DVDs from John.
Right.
I hope he shows something good, because if I see a bunch of trash, I'm going to be going, trash!
And Chuck came because Chuck's like, you better not one-up me from my DVD show. But we have Mr. Chuck Hensey here, who did a great DVD show. You guys should all go check it out.
I'm looking forward to finding more things that I need to watch on DVD and streaming. So here we go.
Digital media is life.
Right.
That's right.
And of course, we have fallen community icon with us tonight, Cliff on Comics. How you doing, Cliff?
What's up, sticker people? How dare you? Look at me. Sticker.
And of course,
Stickers.
the man of the hour, none other than John's Comics with Kid himself. We're squeezing him in here before the school year starts and getting him on again. Always a pleasure to have you on the show, John. And of course, this lovely panel. I do have to find a replacement host for next week because unfortunately my two mains will not be here, and I'll miss them. But we'll get at least one of them back the week after. But John, give the quick 2 minutes who you are, what your channel's about. You're doing a lot on IG lately as well, and then we'll say hi to the audience and then come back to you.
Yes, sir. Cliff likes to say John's Comics sans kids. The teenagers don't show up as often as they used to at the beginning of my channel. But yeah, it's a lot of just what am I reading? What am I watching? What am I enjoying? And ideally, the girls show up from time to time to throw in a couple of thoughts. A lot of omnibus stuff on my channel these days. It's a lot of what I'm reading is collected forms. So I do. I did a show just last night on my channel talking about Ms. Marvel Volume 1, the Claremont Bronze Age classic with JP. And then I got a show with Magic Lasso. We're looking at Avengers versus Justice League of America from the Silver Age. And then soon, come October, I guess we're going to be launching the new Omni X-Men season. We're looking at the first volume of New Mutants by Chris Claremont.
Wow, nice.
Good.
I'm surprised you guys never did like a horror omnibus, like a Tomb of Dracula omnibus or a Werewolf by Night one or a Man.
That could be a whole lot of fun. I'm a big Creatures on the Loose fan. Obviously,
I love Creatures on the Loose.
I'm John Jameson. I'm the Man Wolf. So give me more Man Wolf time. I'm down.
Yeah. And we can see you're sucking up to Gary already with those ROM comics in the back.
Those are fitting for that Ms. Marvel omnibus because obviously Rogue and Mystique and those early appearances very
Rogue's
important.
second appearance in ROM.
There it is.
It's crazy to me that Rogue's second, I think, and third appearance are ROM comics.
They are, and they're good ones. ROM is a great run. People
gotta
just
pay attention.
Don't know.
Oh yeah,
it's not just
the whole entire run and the 4 annuals, all written by Bill Mantlo.
Classic stuff.
You don't get that anymore.
No.
But let's go say hi to the audience. So first in, as always, James Las Cruces. How you doing tonight, sir? Great to see you. John's Comics with Kids saying hello to everybody. We have Carlito Classico. Good evening, Carlito. Maybe we could convince Carlito to do a show with us one night.
He is a physical media fan as well, and
comics
and movies. He's got an incredible knowledge.
And we have Paul, Psychedelic Comics. Good evening, sir. We got Brad stopping in, who's going to catch us on the rewind. Nice to see you, Brad. Hopefully it's all going well for you tonight. Gordon Sisk, new person for me here. Good evening, Gordon. Nice to see you. Mr. Shop for Comics, how you doing tonight, sir? Great to see you, buddy. W. Vogs, how's it going, man? Great to see you. Kevin, great to see you, Kevin. Entropy Comics, go check out his channel as well. Him and Vogs and the Jackson Roy Kirk. Ready for some more digital versatile discs. Nice. And then we have Joe, Anachronic Comics. Good evening. Another variant. Hey, Joe. Okay, right. And then, of course, one of my all-time favorite people, Jerry the Jitterbug. Good evening, Jerry. Nice to see you.
Jerry.
We have Marcus from Circumstances. Good evening, Marcus. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you for coming in. And we were speaking of the devil earlier. Here he is, Ryan Magic Lasso. Good evening. How is it going, Ryan? We got to get Ryan back on again, too, with something.
Yes.
We got Random Rips. Good evening, sir. Great to see you. We got
He's joking
Bill
about Random Rips is Kevin. He's joking about last night I was on Jig's Kingdom late night.
Oh, nice.
And
were you?
Roman Curtis jumped on there, and I've never laughed so hard in my life. I was dying. I almost peed my pants. I was crying. I fell on the floor a couple of times. Roman Curtis is hilarious.
Nice. I've never met him. Maybe I'll have to reach out and try to get him on the show. Marty Electo, how you doing, sir? Great to see you. Here he is, still picking. Yeah. Mr.
I
J.
barely
80 Hobbies. Good evening, sir. Great to see you as well. Guys, go check out his channel. All right, we're getting a full house tonight. We got a lot of talking going on. We're going to let them chat. Black Swap Comics. Good evening, sir. Nice to see you. Another new one to the channel. Great to see some new faces. We have Matt, Comics by the Bay, and we have Jigs Kingdom here right now as well.
Stalking me.
Stalking you.
All right.
Oh, that's gonna go to John's head that he stopped.
Yeah.
You know how his ego is.
We got a relationship, Jigs and I. We got a relationship.
Right on.
And I'll just put that out there. Any of you guys that are new to this channel that want to come on a 1011 or in the hot seat, just reach out to me on Instagram Messenger, on IG messages, DM me, and we will set you up with a date. We do these shows Tuesdays and Thursdays. September is almost filled up, and then I'll be doing October.
Nice.
I just scheduled 5 people today for September.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Whoa.
and I already had a couple. So September, they fill up quick. And I already got one October. Milt's coming on with something special on October 15th.
Uh-oh.
That's cool.
We will make that happen, W Vogs. I will be reaching out. But John, it's not about us. It's not about the future shows right now. Right now, it's just all about you, John. Just
dangerous.
you.
There you go.
Right? And, Cliff will steal a little bit of the spotlight from you, but it's mostly about you.
As he should. Yeah, so
You like to share, buddy. That's one of the things I love most about you.
I love what you did with Chuck, and I jumped into that chat, and I was like, I would be down to do a 1011 DVD Blu-ray as well. I want to talk movies. So it was my first love. I even worked in a movie theater and went to film school. It was a big passion for me. So what I've compiled is 10 movies that either I just really want to talk about because they don't get enough love or talk, or movies with really cool additions that we can kind of discuss and get into. And I'm kicking it off with something that's very timely these days with Romulus in theaters. This is the 30th anniversary edition of Aliens, a nice Blu-ray double set.
And great box art.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely gorgeous all around artwork. It's got a nice clamshell like piece here, and then a cardboard piece there. And then not only do you get the movie in a gorgeous transfer, and it does give you the extended edition, which I don't like. I can happily complain about the extended edition. If you want to know how Newt got to where we meet her in the movie, climbing under the metal grates, this will give it to you. But I don't want to know that. I love the mystery of how did she end up here and what happened to her family and all that stuff. I love that they don't explain it. So I prefer the theatrical version.
Oh, man, dang. See, I want to know now. I'm going to need to borrow that.
So it's basically they give you, obviously the movie begins with Ripley floating in space and being and found. And then it jumps to the planet and we see kind of the fall of the colony. And then it goes back to her working in the loading bay and whatever, and struggling to make ends meet and all that kind of stuff.
And, it's weird too, because I have the Alien, I have the extra 1-2 digitally, and I have the Alien and Alien extra. And
Nice.
sometimes I just want to watch the theatrical release. Every once in a while, I want to see the extras, but more often than not, I just prefer what they did theatrically.
Mm-hmm.
So one other cool addition here is they have these awesome art cards and illustrated comic reprints. So comic fans, here we go. Like we'll just go one layer deeper. They've got these cool pieces of art.
Oh, man.
Oh,
Nice.
wow.
Printed pieces, little postcard pieces. What work goes this way? So some cool comic book art.
That is really cool.
Yeah. Space Marines.
And Dark Horse also did a story about Newt, which I have that collection here
They
too.
did indeed. Let's see, are there any other really cool ones? Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, man. I disagree with people that just want to frame Aliens as an action movie. I think it's got amazing thrill sequences. some
Right.
very great scary.
Horror is a big part of it.
Yeah, it's not. I get it's not as horrific as the original film.
Right.
Let's see here. But
That was going to be my question. I mean, don't you think there is a little bit of separation between the two?
absolutely, I think what Cameron wanted to do was a bigger spectacle piece and not a claustrophobic terror kind of piece.
Right.
And I can respect that
I like to
completely.
see that
But he didn't want to remake the same movie.
Right. And I also think a lot of the dialogue in it, I mean, come on, you know, it had some funny moments,
Absolutely.
some funny dialogue.
Obviously, Bill Paxton,
Bill Paxton,
has
yeah.
a lot of amazing lines. But you talk about the sequences when they're like in lockdown and they're tracking movement, getting closer and closer.
Right.
What an incredibly paranoia, intense kind of feeling. And then when she's got to go back down and hunt to find Newt, what an amazing, intense sequence of events that is. So I love the layered intensity that they have.
Yeah, and there is, for an action heavy film, there is a lot of tension in it.
And the scariest sequence for me is when she wakes up in the med bay and the door's locked and the jars are out. I mean, oh my God. And she's got to protect Newt and the gun is outside now. And she's like,
and then you're so mad.
Riser.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wanted to
Such
punch
an
him.
intense
You're so mad at Burke in that sequence.
Fuck
Like
that guy.
you couldn't wait for Burke to get it.
Yeah.
Right? Absolutely.
And they
So
gave
yeah,
him a
really
what
great
if.
artwork.
They gave him a what if.
They did.
They
I
gave
got
him a
all
what
I gotta
if?
read it. So John,
Yeah.
did you go see the new one, Romulus?
I didn't. I'm the guy who will say, like, I love the first two movies and I don't need any of the rest. I don't like any of the rest of them.
Really?
That's
So
fair.
I don't like 3. I think 3's hot garbage and the worst CGI I've ever seen in a film, just about.
You know, it's funny. I visited the special effects office for that movie while they were producing it.
Like
and I
you
got
can
to
see
see-
them pasted on there when you watch it. It's
I got to see
horrible.
the dog, the like dog alien that like runs on the ceiling. I got to see that. I got to see the dead dog with the hole in the side.
I liked 4, and a lot of people I don't like 4. I thought 4 was good, and I liked Prometheus a lot.
I tried to
didn't care
rewatch
for-
Prometheus the other day, and I wanted to kill myself.
I liked it, but I didn't care for Covenant because who cares about David? I don't care
yeah.
about David's story.
I get that. For
I
me,
mean, I care
Prometheus.
about David, but those are superficial reasons.
I get
Well,
that
yeah, I know what you care
Prometheus.
about.
Prometheus has the best like body horror stuff. Like I get
Right.
that. I think it has the one of the absolute worst characterizations. Like I just think you watch the first two movies and the Marines are wonderful examples of different kinds of Marines. You watch the first film and you have these wonderful examples of like, you know, guys who work with tools and, you know, engineers and wrench heads. Those guys in Prometheus that are scientists act like idiots. I don't understand why these are like the personification of amazing scientists sent out into space to do amazing discoveries, and they're all morons. Like every single one of them does at least one, if not several, really idiotic things.
Right.
Well,
those-
that's it.
And you
That's
don't say that about the first two movies. Other
No.
than Burke being a selfish idiot, none of those guys are being stupid.
Right.
And in Prometheus, just count the moments when somebody does something dumb. Oh, you're the geologist who's like mapped this entire place and you got lost finding your way back? What the heck is that? You had the robots that mapped this whole place.
The one part in that movie that gets me is when the ship is falling and they run in a straight line.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can't
Great
divert.
Right. You can't go
turn. I'll just
You're
keep running
driving
straight.
back. You're driving back to the ship. The only thing you're carrying of value is the rope, the dead guy's head, and you drop it.
Yeah.
That's the only thing you're carrying. What are you doing?
Now, what he's saying. So, John, I'm going to say this. Give it a chance, and you can hate me if you don't like it.
Yeah.
But my order now for my top 4 is
I've heard this.
Alien, Alien Romulus,
I heard this.
Aliens. All right, and then Prometheus.
You're not alone. A lot of people are saying this, which makes
Right.
me curious to see it. And I just don't know if they're so. It's like coming out of the desert and you get that first glass of water and you're like, this is amazing. I don't know if people are like, the last few Alien movies have been so bad. This feels amazing to me now.
I like that it brought the horror back. Like the horror is completely back in this.
Nice.
And everyone's like, oh, it's a young cast. Why are they young? You see, there's a reason they're young. It fits into the story.
Yeah.
So it's not, it's something different. So you had the horror from the first one with them in space, right? The crew in space doing their,
which I love the claustrophobia of that.
Yeah.
The being trapped and not knowing where danger was. And...
Right. There's nowhere to go.
Well, and the second one had the Space Marines. So that was different. This one has a group that is, and the only thing I'll tell you is they're colony workers. They're basically owned by Wayland Yutani, right?
Yeah.
So every time they think they're going to be free and be able to get off planet, they go, oh, nope, you got to serve this many more years. And they just pull the rug out.
Indentured servants,
They're looking for a way to have a better life. They make a decision and they find some stuff out and horror shenanigans ensue.
Yeah.
And a great third act. But I think you would actually, I think it would revive your fate. And I want to just point out too how it's funny how people like to hate on Disney and Marvel, and rightfully so. They've done some garbage, but they've in the last 4 years they've given us one of the better Predator movies and one of the better Alien movies.
Yeah, I agree. And Prey, I mean, I thought that movie was phenomenal. Prey.
I thought it was really good. I didn't think it was as good as everybody hyped it up to be, though. But I thought it was really good.
I mean, certainly better than Danny Glover's Predator 2 for me. I don't care for Predator 2. I think it's.
I agree with that.
I
100% agree with that.
I was like, everyone loves Predator 2. I'm like,
No. It's the only film that feels worthy of the original for me.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that. I did not like.
No,
Predator
I actually
2.
like Predators when they're on the planet. I thought was good.
Yeah,
that's
Lawrence Fishburne and Adrian Brody in them. I thought that was a good one.
I'm sorry, CJ. I was taking some shots at CJ last night. Are you sorry if I parted your hair a little too hard last night?
I know. You and CJ got some grief.
It's a love hate. All
right, number 2. Gosh, John, you go on for so long.
I know. I'll go a little quicker.
Number 1
movies to talk about within that one. So
right.
I know, right? And that was my fault because I carried on.
I saw this film for the first time in college. I'm a big fan of Spielberg, and he said when Stanley Kubrick died, he went and had friends over, and this is the movie they watched to remember Stanley. This is Kirk Douglas in Paths of Glory, the amazing World War I trench warfare courtroom drama. If you've never seen this movie, do yourself a favor. If you're a Kubrick fan and you've never heard of it, it's worth the time. Obviously, Kirk Douglas was in 2 of Kubrick's first films with this and Spartacus.
I've never seen that.
Absolutely incredible. It all focuses on the French lines during World War I. And there was this law that said if you are charged with cowardice, you can be shot to death by court-martial. They'll kill you for abandoning your troop or post, right? And in the middle of trench warfare being overrun, they were ordered to march and charge forward, and they retreated. And they felt like they needed to punish somebody, so they picked 3 soldiers out of the unit, charged them with cowardice, and they will get executed if they're not successful in court. Kirk Douglas is the soldier who was there and stood his ground, who has to represent the 3 guys in court. And he's always remembering what that trench warfare sequence was like for him. Powerful movie.
Huh. Well, and I think people forget how good Kirk Douglas was.
Yeah, absolutely. This is prime Kirk, and beautiful black and white. And there's a sequence at the end where it's just a musical sequence in the sense that they hear music playing and this young lady singing. And if it doesn't bring you just to tears because of everything that's happened so far in the movie, I don't know what to say. It just is a heart-wrenching musical sequence where they're just they hear music and it reminds them of better days, basically.
But and the amazing thing with Kubrick is he did such a variety of genres. Well, he didn't do a lot of movies, but you see all these different genres he did, and each one of them is really interesting on how he explored them.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And he did a lot with track shots and dollies that had never been done with this movie because he wanted to see whole battlefields and trench sequences, and he had to lay all these rails and get the camera to slide along smoothly so that they could see this epic battlefield. Really incredible stuff.
Yeah, and I was
I do
exposed
not
to
own
his films
Caligula.
when I was young. I was exposed to his films. I think I saw Clockwork Orange when I was like 11 or 12.
Ooh, that'll leave some scars.
That explains a few things. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll have you know, Chuck, I've never been normal.
I believe it.
Nice.
Right? All right, great. All right, number 3, sir.
That was a grim
from-
ass choice, by the way. I'm like reading over here, like shit.
Random
Shit.
I
You're
don't
reading
even
about
know
what?
He's taking some good shots at me.
Uh-oh.
Nice.
Oh goodness. So we'll go from one of the oldest films I got to one of the newest films on my list. If you asked me who my favorite actor was, probably going into high school and coming out, it was John Cusack. I think John Cusack is hilarious and amazing, and he writes movies really, really well too. And there's lots of great examples, but my favorite is High Fidelity.
Oh
Oh,
God.
yeah.
This movie's freaking amazing. I saw it in the theater. It was one of the first times I really saw Jack Black and knew what he could do and was like blown away. I've read the novel. I'm a big fan of the novels of Nick Hornby. He's a British writer, and he does a lot of stuff around men that are having trouble maturing in life. And this is definitely about nerd collector culture. If you've never seen
I was
it,
gonna say they're Jack Black characters in the comic book stores.
and instead of being about comics, it's just about records. That they took the concept and moved it from England and put it in Chicago, where Cusack grew up, and he and his buddies basically adapted it and made this hilarious movie.
Yeah.
And Random saying the book is way better.
It's a phenomenal novel. Absolutely.
I love Grosse Point Blank.
Carlitos, yep.
It's so good.
I've never
Great
seen
movie.
Grosse Point Blank. That's one I've never seen.
He wrote that with his same
So-
buddies. So if you like
so
this,
good.
you'll like that for sure.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, Hornby is one of my favorite modern writers. I think he's just really clever, and what a great way to look at the male psyche. There's something going on here where he's counting down his top 5 breakups, and you just see him slowly, in small ways, evolving, maturing as a man.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nice.
Love this movie.
Slowly.
I watch it at least once a year.
Nice. Number 4.
All right,
Cool.
we'll go back to another oldie, black and white. I grew up with old movies. My dad had us watching black and white movies all the time. He liked a lot of westerns. I liked a lot of noir. The greatest noir movie for me, and that's noir still today probably my favorite, genre detective kind of stuff. You can't beat Double Indemnity.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Very good. Very good.
Barbara Stanwyck.
Stanwick.
Barbara Stanwyck all day. Fred McMurray, come on, Fred McMurray. Edward G. Robinson. This movie, for those that don't know, if you've seen I don't know, Throw Mama from the Train. There's definitely modern comedy takes on some of the same stuff going on here as
Body
far
Heat.
as people getting in too deep with each other. Yeah, Body Heat is a great
basically is a modern version of Double Indemnity,
for sure.
except with Will Hurt and oh God, I know her name.
Catherine Turner.
Catherine Turner.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Terrific
good.
movie. Yes.
Yeah.
But
So
Indemnity is far better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's one of those movies that it's told from the future, and he's looking back at all his mistakes, and you get with noir it's not going to end well. Yet every moment on screen together with the two of them, they comment about being stuck on that car and you can't get off, and you're going to the end of the line. And it's like, this is just going to go bad for the both of them, and you can't let go.
Well, and the framing shots in that movie are so good, and
the photography,
they really give you a preview of what's going to happen, as you go through there. Enough said right there.
So many great visuals.
What great shots those are.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Barbara being Barbara. So the movie comes with 3 discs, gang. This is a 3-disc set.
Wow.
This is the Criterion version. I'm glad I brought my glasses because they write everything super damn tiny on here. So they remastered, they made a 4K, and they've got a 4K version, they've got a Blu-ray version, and then they've got several documentaries on the history of the movie, how they made it, interviews with film scholars talking about Billy Wilder, obviously, who wrote the screenplay and directed the movie. Obviously a phenomenal filmmaker, and this is a seminal movie in his history. And then lots of great movie, like things that were inspired by it, discussions about how it inspired film. Absolutely just if you want a great dark noir thrill ride, it just doesn't get better. It just doesn't get better.
You know what's funny? On Tuesday, my communications group, the topic of my communications group was Barbara Stanwyck.
Nice. And what were some of the things you guys talked about?
Well, because the communications group is about expressing yourself. Barbara Stanwyck, as an actress, expressed herself by working off of what others were giving her.
Sure.
Right? And she knew how to control the tone of her scenes. So I ended the class with her scene from the Thornbirds because it starts so quietly with like, I'm tired, Father. Walk me upstairs. And they walk upstairs and she's like, oh, I'm getting too old for this. I don't know if I'll live another year for another party. Nonsense. I hear you're planning something tomorrow. Well, of course I am. And then they get to the top of the stairs and it's like, tell me, what is it you want for me? I want you to touch me. I want you to kiss me. And then the whole thing about like God is vengeful, spiteful, whatever, and the escalation. So that's how I ended the group, and the class was like, this is amazing. And I was like, there we go.
And phenomenal. And I love in Indemnity where you can see like her character escalate across the movie from like she had all of this villainy in her from the jump, but she's only showing it in pieces as the movie progresses. More and more you're realizing just how twisted of person she really is.
It's brilliant. And her ability to play it out.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
No, and with those two, like you're saying, 3 discs. I don't know about you, but I love special features. When I get a movie, I go through every special feature. Like I have to watch everything.
Sure.
Even if it's dry and boring, I will force my way through that. I got to listen to I love commentaries.
I was gonna say, does that count all because some movies have like 4 commentary tracks? You got to watch them 4 times just to hear them all. Oh wow, that's a lot. I don't know that I've watched even half of the commentary tracks I probably own. There's just so many on some of these discs.
I don't know. I love
commentary collection. Does
what they're thinking in the scenes.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I like to this was completely accidental. And you're like, oh wow, and it worked out so well. Just to get cool little insights.
Of course.
And there's so much good stuff within the Criterion collection talking about all of the makings of it and the history behind it. That's something I can geek out on that for a couple of hours and just get completely sucked in and totally. And the wife's like, oh, don't you have something you have to do?
Well, the older the movie too, the more of that material that can exist sometimes because of retrospectives and historical examinations. People writing books about some of these actors or directors or films, and then you get a material that is just absolutely vast in some cases.
I like when the documentary is like twice as long as the film. You're like, really?
Right. So then, Gary, do you have a favorite commentary track you've listened to where you're like, this is just as good as the movie now? Like this is incredible.
It's still the thing.
Yeah,
I love listening to John Carpenter and Kurt Russell talk to each other about that movie.
I've listened to that one. They're great.
And all the stuff they went through to make it, almost dying, and Kurt Russell actually really flying the helicopter and learning from the guys there and all that. I mean, there's just so much good stuff.
They have such great camaraderie, those two, that they banter and go together really well.
I think what was it? There's some I think I think I watched something on The Big Chill once because I really like The Big Chill.
Sure.
And
it's a great movie.
Yeah.
I listened to one for a movie called The Limey with Terrence Stamp. Stamp, who's on.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently the writer of The Limey did not get along well with the producers, and the director is Steven Soderbergh. And so they had a commentary track with the producer, the director, and the writer, and it's so awkward. It's like cringy, the writer's trying to bitch about stuff, and the director, producer, like, God, I'm so glad I never did another movie with this guy. Like you can feel the awkward tension between the three of them, and I couldn't turn it off. Like I was just like, this is so horrible.
It's like a car wreck. You just got to watch it.
Yeah.
The original Fog's like that with John Carpenter, because he had just broke up with his partner who he was making the movies with. I can't remember her name right now, but she was making the Fog with him, and he had just remarried to Adrienne Barbeau. So she's making this movie with her ex, with his new wife right there.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Talk about awkward, right?
Yeah, right. Oh man. Yikes.
There's a lot of stories like that.
Yeah. That's the truth.
Interestingly.
All right, number 5.
All right. I told you I like noir, so here's a more, I don't say modern, 80s noir. This is a movie that I think is a deep cut, so I don't know how many people have seen it. Directed by the great Bill Duke. If you guys know from Predator and Commando. In Predator, he's the guy who's like chasing the predator to the forest. I'm gonna have some fun tonight, right? He's chasing him, he's stripping the guns off as he's running. He's chasing him down,
breaking the razor on his face.
Yeah. Bill Duke directed several movies like Hoodlum with Lawrence Fishburne, but
I love Hoodlum.
he did this with Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I freaking love this movie.
Deep cover.
It's so good.
Oh my God, yes.
This is a movie that I never hear people talk about, and I'm riveted by this movie. So the topic is Lawrence Fishburne is kind of a failure as a cop. He's kind of not really making it because of his psych profile. He's a little unstable, and they decide they're going to use that and put him as a deep undercover cop selling drugs in and around the city as a way to try to catch criminals. He gets hooked in with a real sleazy lawyer played by Jeff Goldblum. And before long, they're like way over the line as far as what's legal and how they're.
I've never seen this one.
Oh, it's really and it's more about Fishburne. You know, Fishburne has that like bass sort of sound in his voice, and he's over there just going, "I never thought a man could be." You know, I mean, like he will just sit there and do this whole.
Well, just putting those two together makes me want to see.
Yeah,
it.
And like, Goldblum is like slowly like going from like, I'm just a sleazy lawyer who maybe dabbles in drugs on the side to like, he gets the bug. He wants to make all the money. And he wants to be a hot shot. And he's just like slowly bringing the two of them down. And so Fishburne's trying to work his way up the ladder, but he's getting sideswiped by Goldblum and what he's got plans for. And Bill Duke, underappreciated filmmaker.
Yeah.
What's that?
I said that's Jeff Goldblum here is just like it's so not him. It's great.
Yes, you've seen this one.
He can play. He can play an asshole just fine.
Yeah,
trust me, he really can.
But you know what? I love that he does it sparingly, because when you see this movie, it really takes you. You know, it's like that one movie about moving Spanish arts with Steve Martin, and Steve Martin's the villain. And I'm like, oh my God, Steve Martin, what is happening?
Steve Martin is crazy scary in that. It's called Spanish something, right?
Spanish. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh my God. I didn't know he could.
Yeah, for sure. So this is one of those very like bare bones movie sets. It's just the disc, you know, classic Warner Brothers, like weird, like cardboard cases,
right, with a little snap plastic.
Yeah, which breaks so easily. This one doesn't even have the top joint anymore, so whatever. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I never see this movie anywhere. I don't even know that there's a Blu-ray of this anywhere.
I like the Jerk 2, Carly.
It's still a great
movie, of course. It's these cans. He hates these cans.
I've got a special purpose.
So good.
The thermos song kills me too. I'm picking out a thermos for you.
So my mom was I think a senior in high school, and he was a sophomore in her high school, and she knew Steve Martin growing up and thought he was just this funny, quirky, odd little guy.
Which he is
now, which was factual. I mean, accurate. But she's always like telling stories of like how she had classes with him or saw him around campus or whatever.
I love that one joke he did too. He's talking about playing the banjo. He goes, there's differences between playing the banjo and playing the guitar. You know, with the banjo, it's blah, blah, blah. You know, and with the guitar, you get laid.
Yeah. Accurate.
But speaking of Jeff Goldblum, I thought he never got like enough credit. I really liked him in Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
He was good in that.
He's great. He's great across the board. He's always, but I think he gets the shot against him is that he always seems like he's playing himself, you know, some version of himself, because he always invests this delivery, like a Christopher Walken style of like his it's funneled through him in some way. But I've always found him.
Jackson is letting you know there is a Blu-ray of Deep Cover.
I've got to find this, Jackson. Thank you, sir. If it exists, I didn't know that.
See, what you're saying about Jeff Goldblum is the same thing I feel about RDJ, and that's why I don't think he's going to be a good Doom.
Gotcha.
He just puts too much of his own little. I don't know how to describe it, but you see it in Sherlock, you see it in Iron Man. It's just everything. Less than zero. You can go all the way back to Less Than Zero, and you can see it.
I feel the same way about Denzel Washington. Like I always feel like I'm just watching Denzel Washington in every role.
I don't know about that.
You will be seated at the right hand of Tyler in hell eating ass together for that statement.
Denzel's great, but I think he's always
talking to me?
a different version of himself.
Are you talking to him?
Gary and Tyler.
Okay.
Tyler said something so outrageous in the mix that I was like, you will be in hell eating ass. And now Gary will join him.
It's possible that you're rating Denzel on a modern scale of like, I saw his Equalizer and his Man on Fire movies in the last 10, 15 years. I like the
Equalizer a lot with him.
You go look at him in Philadelphia. I mean, I think Philadelphia is one of Denzel's greatest performances. And
absolutely.
That sequence when he's in the pharmacy and that gay guy hits on him and he just loses his crap, and you're like, wow, look at the fragility inside of this guy. And then you look at his evolution
very well.
Yeah. And then you look at him in
the Western remake.
Yes, Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, I thought he was great in the Magnificent Seven.
I think he's got a lot of range. I think he's just in a phase now like Liam Neeson where he's like, I make money just turning out these action movies every so once in a while. I'm going to do doing that.
There's a lot of them in that phase now, right?
But then you go watch a movie like Fences, based on the play with him and Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Damn. The guy brings some heat.
And I
agree with you, Carlito. When I was watching him in the Gladiator thing, I'm like, that's just Denzel playing Denzel in Gladiator.
Right. But hey, cash that check. What's the I remember people saying
it's
I agree with that too, John, because everyone always picks on Nick Cage, who basically does a lot of the same things. But when he wants to turn in a great performance, he's got that ability. But he gets paid a lot just to be different versions of himself.
Sure.
He made a whole movie being different versions of himself.
Right. But people sit there and go, he'll make anything. I'm like, well, of course. He likes money. He wants to pay his bills.
And if it can support your life and your other choices, I know Alan Rickman used to joke like, I can make any movie I want as long as I show up at a Harry Potter every once in a while and make one of those,
Right.
And he'd go out to dinner with people and they'd be like, "Oh, I'll pick up the check," and he's like, "Harry Potter," and he would just sign the check. Like he's like, "No, I'll Harry Potter." I got
you got your little films that support you and the ones you do for fun.
Yeah.
Right. And I would say here, just to go back real quick to RDJ is in the same situation where I think now, released post Iron Man, he's shown up and he's played RDJ, where you look before that,
right,
at things like Chaplin, for example, and some of the others, where he's clearly doing a much more different and nuanced role. He can step up and do it because we saw that in Oppenheimer, but there's got to be a reason. Otherwise, he's showing up and he's taking off the mask at Comic-Con and saying, "I'm back, guys. Okay, I did my artsy stuff for Oppenheimer,
sure,
so I can get my jewel. Now I got to pay the bills."
Here's my hope.
I just don't think he's the right choice. That's all.
Here's what I hope they're doing with Doom.
The right choice, but
yeah. My hope is that he's going to do motion capture and his voice, and we're never going to see his face. And I'm hoping that, maybe one time way down the line at the end of Secret Wars, when he's cured the scars, you see him take the mask off for us. But I'm hoping you don't see his face for these characters. It's just the voice. And I think he could nail that.
When he was young, that I loved him in. I thought he was fantastic. One a lot of people haven't seen is Tough Turf.
Okay.
Which
I don't know that I've seen it.
It's good, and it's got James Spader in it too.
Okay.
And so and Robert Downey, and also Less Than Zero.
Less Than Zero is phenomenal
for sure.
Movie.
I mean, he's great in that.
Yeah.
Everyone's great in Less Than Zero, though. But they're all
really good movie.
It's a really good. It's not a fun movie, but it's great. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Plus, it's got one of the Bengals' best songs ever. So there's that too.
Oh yeah.
I like the Equalizer too, Carlito, but I'm not tricking myself into thinking that it's, Denzel at the best of his skills or anything.
No, I think you hit it on the head with Philadelphia.
But I don't think
every time I see Philadelphia, the nuance he pulls in there. It's like, it reminds me of Tom Cruise in Rain Man, the nuance of that performance where you're just like, you're watching somebody that's so self-absorbed slowly crack under pressure, and that's it's amazing that you're distracted by obviously how amazing Hanks is and how amazing Hoffman is in those two roles that they won the Oscars for, but without Cruise nailing his Rain Man and without nailing his part in Philadelphia, I don't think those movies work.
Yeah,
right.
And there's nothing wrong with cashing in on your personality and just doing those movies.
That's what Phil and I do. We cash in on their personality.
I mean,
and that's action movies in the 80s, right?
Right.
Stallone, Schwarzenegger, Van Damme,
right?
All that,
They had to get paid. Got to get it while you can't. I mean, look, Samuel L. Jackson. Somebody asked him one time and said, "Why in God's name would you do Snakes on the Plane?" He said, "Look, my job is to get up every day and try to find a movie to do. These people offered me to do. Your job is to be a plumber. You go do plumbing work.
Cleared.
My job is to go and do movies." And they offered him the movie, and he said, "Yeah, I'll take it. I don't got nothing going on right now."
There it is. I think I read that he's the highest grossing actor in history. He's with the Star Wars stuff and the all the Marvel stuff. It's like he's got the highest gross of any actor now in history. So
I think he shrugged his shoulders after he didn't get the Oscar for Pulp Fiction. Was like, well, man, I'm not going to do any more serious shit. I'm going to
make my money.
Right.
Although I love one of the first movies he made after that was Negotiator, and that was great.
Yes, that was quite good. Yeah.
Black Snake Moan.
The movie, I think the movie I really liked Denzel in was Virtuosity.
Oh yeah, with Russell Crowe. Yeah.
And I'm not a big Russell Crowe fan either.
He was a very dynamic villain in that, which he usually doesn't play such dynamic characters.
No.
All right, number 6.
So I went back and forth between this and another film by David Lean, and I couldn't pick. And finally, I was like, you know what? I like this edition better.
Oh wow!
Awesome! Yes.
That is a good movie.
This is an iconic film. Absolutely incredible. Lawrence of Arabia, I love it. It's a movie I probably watch a little more often, but this is a really great edition of Bridge on the River Kwai. And again, multiple discs, all the special features, all the makings ofs, all the little pieces. It's almost like a novel. It's like a hardcover collected set. Gorgeous stuff. I haven't
seen that in years.
I say that's another one I saw when I was really young.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in a long time.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, Schultz.
The whistle, right? The whistle, which is
I used to whistle all the time when I was young because I watched that damn movie and it stuck with me.
Yeah, of course it does. But what a wonderful look at culture. You talk about the British on things, you talk about the Japanese perspective on things, you talk about the American perspective on things. You have great examples of culture spread in this film. Yeah. And when they come into contact, the American, like, I don't have to fight with honor. I want to blow up the bridge. I'm here to blow up the bridge. I don't even want to go back and fight in this stupid war. I just want to go home. Right. The British are like, it's got to be done a certain way. I'm getting so good at building this bridge. It's going to be the best bridge in the world. Right. Right. The culture war is happening not on the battlefield, but in interaction with each other. That's the juice of this movie for me. It comes with postcards as well, like fun.
Oh, that's a nice touch.
Yeah, William Holden, obviously, so phenomenal, underappreciated. I think not remembered the same way that the Humphrey Bogarts and the John Waynes are, but William Holden is badass.
Plus, Alec Guinness was in that too, right?
Yes, sir. He's the British general, or is he? Is he a colonel? I can't remember. Here he is. Absolutely great. Yeah. Pre-lightsaber.
Yeah. Where's your lightsaber, sir?
Right. Exactly. But there's so many great sequences, so many great moments, and obviously when they lock him in the hot box, they try to sweat him into building the bridge for them, and sort of the way the two leaders sort of break each other down. Each one becoming more like the other. fantastic. And then of course that dramatic end when they come to blow up the bridge, and now he doesn't want to blow it up. Like the British general's like, no, I this is a masterpiece. This is going to be living long after me now. This is my legacy.
Right.
Never mind that it's like you just help the enemy. Like you know,
right.
You're working to help them. So yeah, absolutely phenomenal film and beautiful rendition. The quality of the transfer on this is stunning. I wish I could see it on the big screen. I've seen Lawrence of Arabia on the big screen, but I've never seen this on the big screen.
Well, you never know, because that fandom thing, whatever they show, like that's how I saw a couple of movies. You know, you never know when they might resurrect.
I always try to watch the film, the theaters in my area, because that's a great way. I saw Casablanca for the first time just this year.
Oh, really? For the first
time? You had never seen that? That was
not on the big screen.
Okay, I never saw it on the big screen. Yeah, but that was a movie I always heard about when I was a kid. I'm like, that's gonna be stupid because you're a kid. And then I watched it when I was young and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is really good.
Well, next week is actually they're doing Rear Window, I believe, on the big screen, because my daughter just messaged me because she works at a movie theater. She just messaged me saying she's pissed off that we can't go together because she has to work at the movie theater, and I'm like, but
that's a great one. I love Hitchcock. He's probably my favorite filmmaker, but I don't think I've seen any of his films in a theater before. I would love to see Vertigo.
Your daughters are old enough probably to enjoy that movie, because I was about their age when my dad took me to see it on the big screen.
I've shown Charlie several. They've seen Rope. They've seen Rear Window. They haven't seen Psycho, and they haven't seen Vertigo. Those are the two that I really want to get them to see at some point. But yeah, Hitchcock's such a master, and Rear Window is beautiful paranoia captured, and that's why it's been ripped off, and Disturbia exists and all these other movies.
North by Northwest.
Chris Reeves did TV version.
North by Northwest, that one. And I think my oldest Kate likes To Catch a Thief because it's funny.
Okay,
it's a more comedic Hitchcock film.
Nice.
All right, how we
number
doing?
7.
Am I keeping your time way off again? All right.
No, are you crazy? We're having a blast. Thursdays I don't have to go to work after, so I can
see. There you go. I'm the only one that's got to go to work tomorrow. Okay, good crap.
Yeah,
and I don't care about you getting up.
Yeah. Well, he's 4 hours. It's only like 4 o'clock there at his house.
I'm just picking on John.
It is. It's 5:48.
Yeah.
So I said I grew up with Westerns. I do love Westerns a bunch, and as much as his most recent Western bombed, I'm a Kevin Costner fan, and this movie is must watch. If you even half like Westerns, Open Range, directed by Costner, starring Robert Duvall, crushing it, absolutely crushing it.
He's gone.
Annette Bening, great. So the plot of this is they are driving their cattle across open spaces, and they get too close to a town where they basically don't like free grazing people. And they get into a tussle with the gentleman who's running the town over this free open space. The gunfight at the end of this movie it's just like 15 minutes of chaos. Like it builds to it too, because it's a slow burn. There's little action sequences here and there, but when it gets to the gunfight, it's like I'm sweat. You're sweating. It's like the intensity of it, the realism of it, like how bad people's aim were and how close they could be and still miss each other.
Yeah.
The bullets
really
were
just
You're saying they were the first stormtroopers.
Yeah. Or the first joke.
It's accurate.
Oh,
and this was a film that Costner, like he does with most of his Westerns, he put up his own money to kind of get it out there and to get it done. And I want to say they shot it. I think Robert Duvall gave up some of his land, like where he lives, to like let them shoot on some of his land. But really great. It just feels so authentic. Costner has very few lines. His character he's not very chatty. He's got a couple of scenes. It's Duvall's character who runs his mouth the whole movie and is like great as
kind of like the Pale Rider effect, huh? With Clinton not talking a lot.
Right. Or like in Lonesome Dove, where it was again Duvall running his mouth and Tommy Lee Jones that time not being the big talkative one, right? Yeah.
Now, I also like, when I really saw Annette Bening as a great actress for the first time was in There's Something About Harry with her and Harrison Ford.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And I was like, wow, she's really good.
I mean, Bugsy, she's so good in Bugsy, like with her and oh goodness, now what's her husband's name?
Tim Robbins.
No,
Annette Bening?
No, I'm sorry, no, not Annette Bening. He's married to Sarandon. Yeah.
Yeah, the lead actor in Warren Beatty.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, she steals the scenes from him every time. She just absolutely like robs him of every moment. I love
Same
it.
here, Steve. Allergies are killing me.
And I love every second of that.
As you.
Well.
Oh, did John freeze or did I freeze?
John froze.
Okay.
John froze.
People took his internet speed away from him in California. Probably,
right.
You know.
Also, I just
in
want
the
to
house.
remind everybody that Annette Bening in American Beauty is amazing.
She is. She is really good in that too.
What's that? Have you ever seen Grifters?
I've not seen Grifters.
Yeah,
Grifters. She's really good in Grifters.
I have a feeling we're going to lose John and then have to get him back in here.
But look, he's in a natural pose.
Right.
He really is. It's a very natural John pose. The only thing that's
missing off the Wi-Fi, right?
A nice glass full of an amber liquid is all that's missing.
Yes.
Yeah, doing his little.
He might be still talking for all we know. He doesn't know that he's frozen. Oh, there he goes.
That's true. Well, there you go. So what is everybody? Who's everybody's favorite director? As we're waiting for him, who's everybody's favorite director? If you had to pick some.
Oh man.
My favorite director, you know, it's going to be probably unpopular, but my favorite director is Kenneth Branagh.
Oh, no, that's
he's a great director.
Dead or Alive. I mean,
Dead Again.
Dead Again was one of my all-time favorite movies. I saw that. I went and saw that on a date in the theater. Like, we just picked the movie. I never heard of Kenneth Branagh. I watched that movie, shipped the date off, and went back and watched it again the next night by myself just so I could absorb it again. It was so good.
Yeah.
No, he's great. And
I like the movie better than the date.
He's doing well with those Hercule Poirot movies too. Like, you know, he's done some really cool stuff with those.
Oh yeah. Also, The Merchant of Venice is another one of my favorites.
Right.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. The Merchant of Venice is my favorite Shakespeare. So when he did that, Much Ado About Nothing as well.
There it is. Much Ado About Nothing.
I love Much Ado About Nothing.
Much Ado About Nothing also was fantastic.
It is.
And Henry V was just amazing. I don't remember if he directed or not, but
he did.
Yeah, but that was
who's in Much to Do About Nothing? Denzel Washington.
Yeah, he is.
There you go.
I didn't say I hated him, Cliff.
Phenomenal performance.
And don't forget, Keanu Reeves is there with the Three Emotions. So, you know.
Keaton, Keanu Reeves. Amazing. Who knew?
Kate Beckinsale. A young Kate Beckinsale.
Right.
Yes.
Very young.
Thompson is there.
Batman's in it all.
Now you're going to get me thinking of
there you go.
Now you're going to get me thinking of the Underworld movies. When I saw that first one in the theater and Kate Beckinsale came on, I'm like, ooh, shiny ass pants.
Yes. She does wear them well.
All right. So John is back. Yes.
Sorry about
Dress.
that.
That's a great movie too.
Devil in a Blue Dress. Great movie. Denzel again.
So number 8. You just did Open Range.
Yep. I got 12 Angry Men.
Wow.
Yes.
This is the Criterion of this movie is phenomenal. Really, really great behind the scenes features, historical elements, obviously a great discussion around the legacy of the play, the value of the play, and the many iterations of the play that have existed on television and whatnot.
Yeah.
This is a movie that doesn't age for me. I mean, it really, it's just raw. Like, it's just a beautifully raw story, perfectly captured. Sidney Lumet, a phenomenal filmmaker, and I want to say this was his first movie. Like, I don't know how you start this strong. Like, it's just
downhill from there.
Out of the gate, man. Out the gate, he absolutely nailed it. This is a one.
Well, just imagine being given that as your first film too.
Oh my God! Right? I don't know how you got the blessings. The blessings on him were strong at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys ever saw Showtime did another version of this. William Peterson, Jack Lemmon, George C. Scott,
Eddie
really
Olmos.
Yeah.
which is good, but it lacks the sharpness.
Yeah.
They feel like they're overacting in that
For sure.
Showtime one, where in this, because I show this all the time in my civics class, and I
As
also
you
show it
should.
in my psych class, to show conflict resolution. And the student, it's amazing because the kids are like, "Oh my God, we're watching another effing black and white movie, Mr. Hensey. Why are you doing this to us?" And then we get about 30 minutes into
it. He's like, yeah.
And their breath just you can hear their breath stops, and they're just like, we have to pause it to go the next day. Like, no, don't stop it. We want to know what happens now,
Yeah.
So
I love it. It's a great film. So that Criterion collection includes the Studio One teleplay of 12 Angry Men.
Yes, it does. I don't know that I've watched it though. I know that it's on there. Yeah, 1955 teleplay.
Talk about not watching your special features.
It's from the Paley Center. Yeah, I know. There's a ton on this that I haven't gotten around to. Yeah, so cool.
And I'm not a guy that dislikes remakes. All right, because you always have the original. People get too bent out of shape about remakes. If it doesn't work, you always have the original. But with a remake, it is sometimes hard to capture the chemistry and the magic of the first film that's made, especially when that's your first impression.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just sometimes you just can't recapture the magic that happened on a set.
Right.
You can have the best actors, but
and I think with theater, you have more of a connection in the moment to what's going on. So having seeing one version of Hamlet in the theater and seeing another can be a different experience because of the chemistry that's happening live in the moment. But on a film, every nuance is so tightly captured. Every little expression, every little thing is so right in the moment. You can't recreate that easily.
Right.
I mean, they proved that with Gus Van Sant's Psycho shot for shot remake.
Right.
That's a debacle.
And that's a man that I don't feel is the right man for that job.
No.
If I want to have a deep, complex, multi-level sexual erotica detective story, then I call him, But this guy is murdering because he can't get over his psychotic mother who married him into a psychotic murderer. I mean, you're not the guy.
You can't replace the subtlety that
Anthony Perkins
has in his that dude was an actor on another level. He was really good. Like no matter what you watched him in, he was really, really good.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And Vince Vaughn really, not the guy.
Yeah, although I love me some Vince Vaughn in other things though.
No, yeah, absolutely. No shaming in Vince Vaughn, but that's not the part for him. That's not the part for him.
Right. No.
All right.
Number 9.
I've only got one horror film on my list, so here we are, Gary.
Here we go.
Aliens.
I would count Aliens. All right, I would count.
Thank you. I know that most people don't. I saw several people in the action.
Right. I was like, Aliens is horror.
Yeah, but it is also horror.
Okay. I have a huge love affair with, I don't want to say that's the wrong word. I have a lot of passionate interest in the universe that Thomas Harris has created in his films, in his books. So yeah, it's the Criterion of Silence of the Lambs.
Oh my God.
Absolutely phenomenal. I understand there's some problematic elements to the film in hindsight, but the cinematography, the music, the performances.
That's a movie
I love.
I've never liked.
Oh, what? Something wrong with you, Gary B.
Brother, come on.
And for me,
Gary,
it even gets better.
Happening?
It gets better when you watch the Hannibal TV series because that for me, it's like it builds to this and then it's like it earns this. I love the Hannibal show. Mads Mikkelsen is phenomenal. He might even be a better Hannibal Lecter
he's a great actor
than Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He is amazing.
There's 2 movies I get hate for not liking.
Okay.
All right. One, it's The First Exorcist. Bores me to tears. Even as a kid, it bored me to tears.
I don't care about that one that much.
And Silence of the Lambs. I watched it. I'm like, it was fine. But that was it. It was just fine to me.
So I've read John Douglas's novel. He's the FBI agent that they based Scott Glenn's character on in Harris's book. and he wrote a book that they made into that Netflix show that David Fincher produced about the behavioral sciences. Yeah, Mindhunters. That's the name of John Douglas's. So that's the name of Douglas's book. He was the FBI agent who helped, among others, create behavioral science as a branch of the FBI
and stuff.
Yeah. And he suffered many nervous breakdowns because he was the guy going out in the field interviewing these insane, wild killers, and then using that information to extrapolate to then fund investigations into current crimes and things. Thomas Harris, the novelist, interviewed him extensively and used him as the basis for kind of what he wanted to do with both William Graham in Red Dragon, the original film that became Manhunter, and then of course with Clarice and Scott Glenn.
That was the Michael Mann film, right?
Yeah. Which they remade into a horrible film. Red Dragon with Anthony Hopkins. Don't watch that.
Yeah, that's bad. Yes.
Stick to Manhunter with William L. Peterson. They're way better film. Phenomenal movie. Absolutely. And Joan Allen, a really early Joan Allen performance, way before she was like big and famous. As the blind lady. So good. There's lots of great behind it. There's an entire book of information. Like I've only skim-read, but interviews with Demi, interviews with some of the actors. I just love I've watched. This was one where I have watched or listened to the commentary tracks. Get out of here with that. Hannibal, all the future films. I only need this. I need Manhunter, and I need the Hannibal TV show. That's all I need. There's really cool stuff.
Me to watch. She forced me to have her watch all of the Hannibal movies, and she's just like, and at the end of it, she was like, you know what, like Silence of the Lambs was really the best, and I think she liked the one where they replaced Jodie Foster, but the whole time she's like, why do they have to replace Jodie Foster?
Because Jodie was smart enough to realize I don't need to do the sequel to this movie because it's never going to be as good as what I did the first time around.
Yeah.
Jodie
she went off and she went and made Panic Room instead, which was a better choice.
You know what? For her, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean, I love the discussions in and around the photography and the way this is a movie that breaks the rule of having actors talk to the camera, like right into the lens.
Right.
And if you watch, they do several things as far as like slowly removing the barriers between Clarice and Hannibal all through their scenes together, whether it's like obvious that there's glass between them to the point where the bars are getting like further and further apart in their discussions. And then Clarice talks to the camera and Hannibal talks right back to it. It's so discomforting. And then they cut around that they're blinking. So there's almost no blinking from Hannibal all through the movie. Really subtle little things like that get under your skin. And then the big speech where she's talking about the lambs. I love hearing the story of how like they had planned all these like cutaway shots where you're going to see the little girl running and carrying the lamb and all these things. And they were like, Jodie is so good. Why would we cut to anything else? Like, why would you cut away? Like she's delivering this speech so well and Hannibal's reacting so well. Like, save your budget. Why are we shooting that? Like,
Jodie is so at the prime of her skill as an actress, I think, in that era where you got her doing that. And, and Maverick, which I think is criminally underrated as a comedy movie, where she's so funny in that. Yeah. Then, you go on, you eventually get Contact, and you're really watching her at the apex of her acting skills.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. You see, in my favorite Anthony Hopkins film, I think he's a great actor, but I loved him in Howard's End.
Oh yeah, of course. Great movie.
Yeah. Howard's End is so good.
I rewatched The Mask of Zorro and had some laughs at him playing.
I love him. I love him in the Zorro movie.
That's so much.
That is funny, isn't
it? And then he wrecked me in the movie The Father. If you haven't seen that from a couple years ago, where he's going through Alzheimer's, and I was a wet rag by the end of that. That was a movie I don't think I can ever watch again. If you think he's lost a step in his acting skills,
right,
you're just wrong. You're just so wrong.
Oh, he's
crushed.
He has never stepped down with his skills. He's always been phenomenal.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe how hard he could hit me. And I think I highlighted a film not too long ago of his somewhere that he did Hearts in Atlantis, Stephen King film. Really great movie.
And his range is amazing.
Yeah, great performance. Hearts in Atlantis is what it's called.
Because he could be like the softest, most gentle person, or he could be the most threatening person you've seen where you're uncomfortable.
Menacing. Yeah. And you're scared for your own safety, right? Yeah.
And you're like, all right, this is just an old man, but
for sure. Absolutely.
Not messing with him. Yeah, no, he's fantastic.
100%.
All right, number 10, sir.
All right, so I saved this one for last because it's one of the most creative sets that I've ever purchased, and I just was stunned by the attention to detail on this. Carlito is going to be happy about this because it is a Christopher Nolan film. It's Memento, the psych file for Shelby Leonard.
Wow,
it's designed to look like a psychologist's file on Shelby, and you pull
Such
it
a
out.
sad movie.
That's pretty cool.
It's been redacted. There's pieces missing, and you open it up. Oh, sorry. Oh. You open it up, and it's full of things you have to do or things you can. It's got a Post-it right there on the front. Oh, and the set opens up like this.
Wow, that's really done well.
It's wild. The attention to detail on this thing is crazy, and it even includes questions and answers to check how you're doing, and it's got information on him. And then when you put the disc into your player, you can take a psych test. It gives you with your remote, you can take a psych test, and depending on how you answer, you can watch the movie chronologically, or you can watch it like it was theatrically released.
Oh,
so
that's crazy.
Wow.
Yes, if you answer crazy, if you have the craziest answers, it will play the movie chronologically. So it plays the earliest stuff with his wife dying, and then it plays out exactly as it should, not skipping in time.
Yeah, and when you saw why his wife died, it was so sad.
Oh my god!
It was so sad.
I had to print out the instructions on how to do it because it was so complicated. And I put it in with the case just so that if any time I want to, I've watched it both ways. I prefer obviously the theatricals, just better, but to be able to go back and watch it again from that manner was just wild.
I think it does a little more service if you watch it chronologically.
It gives you another perspective on it, and I was impressed by how it worked still. It was not flawed. It didn't ruin the movie. I think I told this to don't believe me. It did not harm the watchability in any way. So yeah, really cool set. I cut off the little backing and just taped it on the back because I didn't want to lose the information about the edition.
Oh, I don't blame you.
Yeah. There's a ton of breakdowns, documentary features on how a scene is cut together and why it works a certain way. And Nolan talking about the process of the story because his brother wrote the short story and he wrote the movie, and they had the same idea, but they became very different end products. Right. Really just, I love this movie. I think it's fantastic. And I saw it in the theater 3 times. I just kept going back. I was I got to understand more kind of what's happening here.
And I just don't understand why Guy Pearce didn't get bigger. That dude can act his ass off.
Yeah, absolutely. He can. He's great.
He had a moment.
LA Confidential. And then was it the Proposition or something where he's the Western where he's in Australia?
Yeah, but I just thought he would be a next A-lister where they're putting him in all these, not so much AAA movies, but all these serious, well-regarded films,
Where he could be a lead
to work with. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he was in Prometheus and Alien Covenant. I mean, who knows how it's gonna hurt?
Yes. Very pivotal part. Unfortunately, that's the only Nolan film I never saw in theaters. I think that experience. I read a review. This was when I was super into movies, and anytime I would read all the movie reviews every week in the LA Times. I loved Kenneth Turan, great reviewer, and if I heard a 5-star review, I was going to see the movie that day. I was going to skip class or I was going to go do whatever and go see that movie. And the review for this by Turan was so positive. I was like, I got to see this. And then I took my wife again that night for her to see it. And then I want to say we went within the next week to take family members to come and see it. It was
nice.
Amazing.
I miss when I was young. I used to go to the movies literally every week.
Yeah.
Those
days have passed for me.
Enjoyed him in The Count of Monte Cristo.
Yes.
Oh, I do like that one a lot too, Cliff.
Jim Caviezel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was, and you know me, I was just like, woo. Of course, Jim worked his way off my freaking radar, so that's too bad.
And you got 2 more for us?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's hear that story one.
All right. So I've told this story a couple of times, but I'm going to do it in its entirety for the first time right here. The whole thing. Those that know my channel have followed me for a while know that I'm very into the TV show Lost, and I'm obsessed. And I was even more into it when it was running. My wife said, "Oh, there's this new pilot that's coming out tonight. I hear good things. It's got Matthew Fox. We should watch it." And so we watched that first episode, and I never missed one live after that. And I'd have watch parties with friends where they're making Dharma beers and all these. I had a blog. I was writing reviews and sending out newsletters. I was that guy. I saw
every episode as it premiered too, though.
So I didn't, and except I never fell off. Like my love never waned. I never was like, oh, this show has jumped the shark. I was there to the end, all the way.
Season 3 was a little wonky because they didn't know how they were going to end it, and then once they righted the ship and said we're going to end it here, it got tight again.
But even the bad ones, although there's a few that I probably don't necessarily like watching as much as others, but I still get a kick out of the quality of the actors was so strong. Yeah. The production quality was so high, considering they had to turn Hawaii into like Iraq and LA and New York and all these things. They really did some incredible production design. So, I have a daughter named Kate and a daughter named Charlie. My younger brother has a son named Jack and a daughter named Penny. We are fans. So I say that all to preface the story of taking Kate to the park when she was 3. My daughter Charlie had just been born, and my wife was sleeping in with the baby, and I was like, I just need to get out of the house with Kate. She's getting stir crazy. So we go to the park down the street. And I'm like half asleep under a tree while she's going up and down the slide and doing this thing. And she's playing with this boy. And then the parents of the boy are like sending them on missions. Go get a pink flower. Go do whatever. And I'm like, okay, good. They're playing with my kid. I don't have to worry about it. And they all come down and they're walking over to me. And I'm like, oh, shit, that's Damon Lindelof. That's the creator of Lost. He's like right there. And his kid is playing with my kid. And I know his wife because Heidi Lindelof is a political advocate. And I've been like following her on Instagram for a long time. And they're walking towards me to come say hi. And I was like, this is going to be bad because I know that I'm wearing a Lost themed t-shirt. Like like, this is going to be bad. It's the handicap logo, but the guy's getting up out of the handicap chair and he says, "Don't tell me what I can't do." And they're walking up to me and I'm kind of like doing this and and they get closer and she's like, "Hi, I'm Heidi." And he's like, "Hi, I'm Damon." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know who you are."
I'm peeing in my pants right now.
That's where I'm not a weirdo
for you guys.
Yeah. The show had just ended. He was taking a much needed vacation over summer. It was like September. So he was enjoying his break. He had come down to this area of the world, to relax. And then he's like, "Oh," I'm like, "I'm a big fan. Like, I love the show." And he's like, "Oh, nice to meet you." And then this is Kate and Charlie's at home. So then his son and my daughter and they went and played, the 3 of them. And I talked to his wife, Heidi, for probably an hour, because I'm a teacher and she wanted to know about schools in my area. And again, she's an activist. So she education means a ton to her. And she wanted to know about how are the schools in this area. We had a great conversation and it was amazing. And then shook hands, said hi. And then I went home and I was like on cloud 9. This is incredible. Like, oh my God, meet your heroes. This worked. This was amazing. Yeah. A couple weeks go by and my older brother's like, "John, are you on Twitter? Do you have Twitter?" And I'm like, "Nah, I don't do Twitter." And he's like, "You should get on there because Damon Lindelof's looking for you." And I was like, "Wow." I go on Twitter and it says, "John Jameson of Laguna Beach, are you on Twitter?" And I was like, oh, I am now. And I signed up and I sent him a message in a DM, and then he replied back and he's like, hey, can I send you a box set of the show?
Oh, shiza.
Wow.
So this is that box set, gang. This is that box set. He staffed it out. He didn't sign it or anything, but was like,
that's
he's
crazy.
Like, you want a blue? Yeah. Do you want a Blu-ray? And it comes in this giant box that was behind me the whole time. If you guys those of you that are watching eagle-eyed behind me wondering what that was, it's the box from the box set of Lost.
That's nuts.
I like how the John's Comics with Kids was blocking it, so I never gave it any thought to what it was.
Whenever he taps on a comment, you can kind of see it. Like if you
I love
his comment.
That
right
show
there.
saved Terry O'Quinn's acting career, because I grew up with Terry O'Quinn in movies, and I always thought that dude was awesome.
Yeah,
and like he was down and out when he got that role.
Yeah, and now he's back. Hopefully, he stays forever. So it's got a fun lid. This map of the island twists and comes off, and there's a hidden like Dharma disc underneath that you can throw into your player. There's all kinds of little you can play the little rock game, Sinet game that they play on the show. Of course, it comes with a Dharma Initiative blacklight that you can shine on the box and find all kinds of facts and truths about the island in there. It's got.
Who's your favorite character, John?
This might say a lot about me, Cliff. I'm a Sawyer fan. I love me some Sawyer. I'm a skate.
He started
fan.
out as a guy you hated, but they wrote him so well you were rooting for him. I'm a couple seasons in,
and if it adds to my psyche, I'm also a Jamie Lannister fan. I like those redeemable bad guys who got to learn a lesson about themselves a little bit. And
listen,
so Sawyer all the way.
Shirtless Josh Holloway is extremely forgivable.
Yeah, Matthew Fox was a little too much of a goody. He was not he's not my jam.
Yeah,
I love obviously Kate. A big fan of Kate.
Everyone was a big fan of Kate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So this is the actual discs. The discs are all in their individual season sleeves, so you can pull out whatever season you want, and it's all kind of in the set here. So cool. Absolutely amazing. And I will say, I had already at that point purchased season 5 in its Dharma box, which was really kind of a fun little set as well.
Oh wow!
It's this weathered, beaten looking cardboard box, which has a VHS Dharma tape inside of it as well.
That's cool.
Ooh. So
I liked Saeed and Hugo.
Saeed is amazing, and I always felt like he deserved a better redemption towards the end.
Yeah.
I was a little sad that he didn't
just
get
the great character.
Oh my gosh, Naveen Andrews crushed.
Yes,
so good. So yeah, there's my story of how I got.
Dude, that's amazing. I didn't even know that thing existed. They have it get sent by him.
Yeah, right. And shout out to my big brother who clearly spent too much time on Twitter, and it paid dividends for me.
Wow.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
And I'm glad because Lost got a bad rap. The ending was terrible. I love the ending.
It worked for me. Yeah, it worked for me. I was into
super happy with it. I like the wrap up.
I wish they'd had more time, and I wish some of the characters had more of an arc. But it's nitpicky stuff for me at this point.
And I felt bad. Penny and just all that, the whole Penny arc and all that. Yep. A lot of sadness on the show, but a lot of cool things.
Yeah.
But I think I loved Hugo's story throughout that whole thing. He was you couldn't not love that dude.
Yeah, and he's a great actor too. I think he brought a ton to that role. He was really strong.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then of course that was my introduction to Michael Emerson too. This dude can play a really bad dude.
Yeah. I remember seeing him on what was that? It wasn't the Boston Legal. What was the one right before Boston Legal?
The Practice.
The Practice. Thank you.
Good Lord.
Give me a couple of seconds.
Background.
But for those that don't remember, Emerson was the crazy serial psycho killer who showed up in their office one day with that severed head. He was creepy AF on that show. And then when I saw him appear on Lost, I was like, "Oh, this guy's gonna tear some shit up."
Yeah, that was what was wrong with season 3. They brought in characters that really didn't affect the story, and then they killed them off the same season.
They did. Yeah. They did. They joined and then they cut him out. But then Emerson went on to do with Jim Caviezel Person of Interest, which is a very good show as well. I think that he was good on that.
Carlitos mentioning that right now.
Who was the actress on that with them?
That was I've got the girl from Serenity.
Benjamin Button.
Claire Forlani?
No. She's an African-American lady. She's the cop on Person of Interest. Really great.
Cop, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Person of Interest. I'm going to find out right now.
Yeah. It was all about like AI that was like.
Yeah. How they do face recognition and everything.
Yeah.
It's trying to predict crimes and stuff. So
there it is. Taraji P. Henson.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is she? She hasn't done anything since then, right?
I mean, I loved her in Curious Case of Benjamin Button. I can't remember when that appeared after Person of Interest.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Cliff, tell him. Give him some speeches.
She was in she was in
Breathe, Cliff. Breathe, Cliff. Breathe.
She's in Hidden Figures. Let's start there.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's right.
Yes.
Okay, she is phenomenal. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
There's no lack of her phenomenalness. All right. She's in What Men Want. She was in Empire. She's in the remake of The Color Purple.
Oh,
I have no words. Respect this woman.
Taraji's great.
She's amazing.
She's off after everything else he just said, though.
I've never seen Empire. I heard good things though.
All that matters is her.
Okay. Good to know.
Homegirl gets out of prison and says, "I want what's mine," and that's it. That's the premise of the series.
Yeah, that's all you need. That's all you need.
All right.
A long series of movies in the '60s like that too, women's prisons. But anyway, we'll go on.
On to your last one, John.
So speculation when it comes to DVDs is kind of interesting, and I'm sorry that I don't remember what Chuck's pick was. So if we have the same pick, c'est la vie. For me, it's about the scarcity or rarity of a given title, and this is a disc that is kind of a ghost. And if you see one on the shelf somewhere, you buy it. And the reason why is drama and infighting among the creators and where the rights have landed. It's not the scandal around the film itself, because it has its own a bit of a scandal. We're talking about Dogma by Kevin Smith.
Yes.
This movie doesn't really exist. They did a single disc edition right when it hit DVD. Right. You go at Blockbuster and whatever. Then they did this 2-disc special edition about a year later, and there was a Blu-ray that was right around the same time. And then since then, the drama with the Weinsteins has basically left this movie off in a far, far corner of obscurity.
Yeah.
I even remember during the trial of Harvey Weinstein, Harvey trying to sell the rights for this to make some money back. And from what I understand, I think Kevin Smith is in the process of actually buying them back.
Nice.
Yeah. If that happens, the scarcity of this won't be much anymore. But for right now, if you're ever cruising through 50% off place or whatever, and you see this out there and you're like, well, nobody knows what this is.
Just for the record, the most difficult thing to purchase is the Blu-ray.
Is the Blu-ray, okay? Because it didn't get a bunch. They didn't do a lot of press of it. It was kind of like really a short-lived version.
I saw that in the theater too.
As you should.
Yeah.
So this is a 2-disc edition. One is the movie. One is special features. It looks like a little Bible. So it's it's got that look to it. It's got the movies disc there for you.
Carlito's saying it's going for $50 on eBay. 50 plus on eBay.
They're not cheap if you find someone that knows what they got. But if you find someone that has no clue what they got, you should get it. Also, this is a movie that doesn't stream anywhere because the rights are so tangled up. The only way to really watch it is physical media. So snag yourself a Dogma. I saw this in the theater. I was a Kevin Smith fanboy. I think the movie's hilarious. And look at this incredible cast of actors. this movie has just a ton of quality performers, including there's Alan Rickman, who we talked about earlier.
Right there, yeah.
And one of the great actresses of our childhood, collective childhood, Betty Aberlin is in it, and at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, really?
Mr. Rogers' Neighbor. She plays the nun in the airport.
Wow, the one that they're like gaslighting, yeah.
The one they gaslight, and she's actually talked. She's on Twitter. She's actually talked about being approached by Kevin Smith to do that.
That's
movie.
Fantastic.
So, just a little bit of neat trivia there for.
And you can't forget Alanis Morissette as God, right?
Yeah,
there she is, right there. I love this. They even had the guy who did all, forgot his name, who does all the like Star Wars posters, the hand-drawn Star Wars poster, to do one of them for Dogma. So great. I love it.
Awesome.
And there's the poop demon right there at the bottom.
Right.
Now, what's your favorite Kevin Smith movie? Is it Dogma or is it something else?
If I know that I talk a lot of noir and genre stuff, my favorite genre of film is probably romantic comedy, because it's so hard to do right. And there are so many crappy ones out there. There are so many bad ones.
It's one of my favorites.
Chasing Amy is a perfect romantic comedy.
I was just going to say Chasing Amy is
phenomenal. And the performances are so strong, and the jokes are so damn funny, and the look at comic creators is so spot on. It's so on point. I think it is absolutely a movie with a ton on its mind and a ton on its heart, and has a lot of things to say certainly about sexuality, but about gender, about race, about the economy and people at different ends of the scale. Right. I think it's a really creative and clever film, and I don't think he'll ever top it.
Yeah, Chasing Amy was so good.
It's so good.
You're a tracer.
It's amazing.
What you're saying. You're just a tracer.
Yeah, you're a tracer.
Yeah, and Carlito said one of my favorite romantic comedies, Serendipity. I love Serendipity.
Serendipity is great. It's not a Kevin Smith movie, but it's a great.
No, we're talking about romantic comedies in general.
Yeah. I mean, a bunch of my favorite movies, just like High Fidelity, Jerry Maguire, Almost Famous. So Say Anything. I mean, anything by early Cameron Crowe falls into this category of just really great characters, well done. And
there's a movie I love, and everyone always feels different about it. Some people hate it. It's my second favorite movie of all time.
What is that?
So my favorite movie is John Carpenter's The Thing. My second favorite movie is Love Actually.
Great.
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? Come on.
It's problematic. There's a great article.
It's problematic AF.
I read an article with my daughters, because they do like it as well, breaking down all the ways in which Love Actually is problematic, and there's a lot. There's a lot of bosses with their secretaries, stuff going on there.
And the British humor in it just hits right.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And the end scene always breaks me. When they meet up and he's like, "You were learning this," and I was like, "Yeah, just in cases." Just in cases line just always like
For me, the better Hugh Grant film is another Nick Hornby novel turned into a film, which is about a boy. If you've never seen that one,
Hugh Grant is great.
He's great in this part. He's basically a young man who's basically grown up rich because his dad had a hot song, and he's the only child of that family, and he lives on his own. He's living off his dad's royalties from a crappy Christmas song.
Right.
And he's a completely self-absorbed asshole. And he realizes that he can get women if he says that he's a single dad, that women will like him. Even though he's never been married, he doesn't have a kid, he starts lying about a son that he doesn't have. The problem is he ends up in like single parent groups, and he starts like making friends, and it starts to actually like bleed into his actual life. And then this kid wants to have him as a mentor, and this weird relationship develops between him and this kid. Toni Collette is in it. Rachel
I haven't
Weisz
seen that since it
it
first came out, but it was great.
It's so funny, and he is absolutely amazing in it. And the kid is Nicholas Hoult, who has gone on to do 100 great things, like he was Beast in X-Men First Class.
Right, X-Men. I was going to say.
And I love the relationship with
Mad Max,
Liam Neeson and his kid in that.
Yeah,
oh, I'm going to do her in every room. We're going to do, your room for just the funny shit. And then
so good.
Bill Nighy is so good in that with him and his manager.
In Love Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's just nothing I don't love about that movie.
And what's his name
Well,
from The
it was
Walking
literally
Dead?
made for you, Gary. So that's why, literally made. Literally, this movie was literally made for a heterosexual white male super fantasy. You are welcome. You are
of
welcome.
course.
Oh, and also, how beautiful was Keira Knightley in that? I mean, she's always.
Of course, she was
always
beautiful. Literally,
I would say, when is she not beautiful? I mean,
beautiful and non-threatening. Even the one who's made to feel fat. I mean, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Don't be a hater.
The relationship with Emma
Don't be a
Thompson
hater.
and Alan Rickman was so sad.
Oh my God.
oh yeah.
Like that was so sad in that
Oh,
movie.
that one's the worst one because that one's the story of my life. I'm the bitch waiting for a bracelet and getting a fucking CD at Christmas time. That's me.
Oh, that was just so sad. Like, and they're acting so good. Like Emma Thompson's another one of those where how good she is isn't talked about
She's
enough.
phenomenal.
Yeah,
she's phenomenal. Professor Trelawney.
Exactly, Gore. Oh, I love Wild at Heart. Wild at Heart is fantastic, and what a soundtrack on Wild at Heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So we'll go around on this because I thought it was a good question. Where was it? Someone asked, "What's a movie that all of us will never watch? One movie that we'll never watch." Is there one out there?
Ooh.
There's one I haven't watched. Oh, okay. I have not watched, but I'm probably going to watch Batman and Robin.
I saw it in the theater. Ugh.
I saw all of them in the theater, John.
Yeah.
movie I would never watch.
Never gonna watch.
Man,
that's a tough one.
I don't know, but I don't know if I'd ever say never, but it's never going to be on top of my list. Is that one with Bill Murray where he does this Jacques Cousteau thing?
Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Yeah, can't get behind it.
Some people just don't like Wes Anderson, and I get it. He's very
I like that movie.
Style.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I like that movie for the Wes Anderson of it all.
Yeah,
Royal Tenenbaums is one of my favorites. I love Royal Tenenbaums.
That's different though. That's just that I've watched, but this couldn't get it.
Great movie.
I would probably say this is an older action movie, but Last Action Hero. I
check your microphone.
Is it not working yet? Oh.
Might be me.
Yeah, Last Action Hero I thought was really good. Everyone hated it, and I watched it and loved it.
Am I getting feedback on my thing here? Sorry.
No, apparently my microphone is working.
I think it's Jim because this happened to Jim once before.
Oh, is it? Okay.
All right. Yeah, Last Action Hero is the one I probably would never see. I just never. I like Schwarzenegger, but
I'm worried. I'm gonna switch my output here. Sorry.
That's any for me anything with Steven Seagal in it. Just don't like that dude.
Okay, I was hearing something weird, and I was like, "Wait, I can't quite hear what's going on." So it's time to echo.
Well, that's all right.
Is it still doing it? Is it mine?
No, you're good.
There's filmmakers I don't like. I'm not a fan of Scorsese. I think Scorsese's a little overrated. I would say I'll never watch some of his movies again.
Although I did like that animated one he did, I thought was fantastic.
I don't know.
What the hell was it? I thought he did an animated one.
Okay, this is really bad.
Yeah.
You sure it's not mine?
It can't be me. Mine was muted.
I don't know if it's me.
All right, so far so good. 3 of us are okay.
I okay?
You're okay.
Okay.
Did you take out the earpiece? Was that the trick?
I did. I took it out. Oh, it's back again. Is it Chuck?
Maybe.
Is it Chuck?
All right, let me talk. Is it me?
Or is it Gary B? I don't know. Oh,
I don't think it's me.
Well, it's not me. I'm clearly going right now. I'm going.
I unfortunately think it's Chuck.
All right. Well, tell us what you won't watch.
Well, it's quieter though.
There's a weird. I'm trying to think. I think I may never watch. God, there's a few. There's a movie called Inside that Willem Dafoe did. I'll probably never watch it. There's a
that's movie where he's trapped, right? He's a thief and he's trapped, right, or something like that. Yeah. That looks interesting.
I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna watch that. You know that movie 28 Days where the guy's trapped and he has to chew his arm off to escape? Like, I'm never gonna watch that. Like, just that's not gonna happen. You know, I feel like those are two good, fair examples of I am not gonna watch that. You know.
That's fair, and I'd
probably keeps talking. It's great.
Yeah, sorry. I'll probably put Covenant. I've no interest in seeing that. Alien versus Predator. I have no interest in seeing that.
Carlito agrees with me.
I'm here to upset Gary B. He's like, I'm gonna keep myself on mute because John's gonna trigger me right now.
Well, what? He's gonna tell us about another magical classic that is beloved by all that he can't stand, and we're gonna be just horrified. He's got to go for the trifecta.
Oh, there we go. I didn't realize I had muted myself.
It's all right.
We're completely talking over you.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Kevin's saying Cube 2 is not recommended. I agree with that. I loved Cube 1 though. I thought that was great. It was fun.
Yeah, I've never watched The Notebook either, Carlito, and I actually read the book.
Jackson Woodkirk's joking about how the fact that I have this giant framed Chinatown poster in my living room. I didn't mention it. I don't have a very good edition. I got to get a nicer Blu-ray copy of Chinatown. I don't have one yet.
Chinatown's a movie my mother forced me to rewatch recently.
Sounds like your mother really wanted to traumatize you, Cliff.
No, she doesn't remember.
She forces you to watch the Silence of the Lambs films. How old were you forced to be watching these?
No, recently, because she's 82.
Okay.
She doesn't remember watching this stuff. So she's just like,
I was picturing this like Cliff is 12 years old. He's clinging to his blanket and shaking in bed and drooling and like, Mom.
No, but when we did movie night as a kid, you know, you go out to do rentals on a Friday night, something like that, right?
Yeah.
My brother always choosing horror movies, so that really bothered me when I was little. So like, I was 12 the first time I willingly watched a horror movie. that was at a friend's birthday party, and I was dying inside because I really didn't want to watch it. But it was Nightmare on Elm Street: Dream Warriors.
Oh, that's a good one.
And that's my favorite one.
That's my favorite one too. Plus, and unfortunately for me, it was a partial sexual awakening as well.
And those movies aren't scary in any way. I don't know when people go, "Oh, Friday the 13th" or Freddy Krueger scares them. I'm like,
okay, let us review. The first Nightmare on Elm Street is perfect nightmare fuel. Everything is darkness, shadow. You can't trust a freaking thing in your dreams. It is great. You know? The second one is a homoerotic thriller romp with 12 minutes of Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna stand by it for all the wrong reasons, but I stand by it.
No, it's incredible. The second film deserves a ton of discussion. And I think it's one of those movies that has so much to say, and it's just overflowing with subtext. That movie, and as a cultural moment in time, like it captures a ton of stuff, and I think it shouldn't be ignored just because it's such a hard turn from the first film, and then they bring it back with the third film. I think you can't throw it out. I think it's absolutely worth the discussion.
Yeah.
It's just it's not exceptional. It's worthy of discussion.
You see,
yes, Johnny Depp.
I'm like, that was good. Yeah. It was fun, but I never thought I was never like found it scary.
The first one, really. I don't know. I feel like the first one has all the right.
I'm really weird. Like, not a lot of things really like frighten me.
I rewatched it with my daughters.
You're not giving Denzel enough credit, so I'm not surprised by you. Not surprised at all.
I thought the first one was terrifying, to be honest.
right?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought the first Friday the 13th. Excuse me, Friday
Nightmare
on Elm Street. Sorry, was terrifying.
Yeah.
So
I remember feeling that way as when I saw it as a kid. I rewatched a lot of horror with my daughters last year because they were like, we're teenagers now. We want to watch some horror films, and they had seen Scream and they loved those movies and they wanted to watch the old stuff. Nightmare was the one that dropped the most on my list as far as like my appreciation. It was my number one. I was going, this is going to be my best. This movie's amazing. The effects are still incredibly strong because how much practical stuff they did, turning that room so it looks like she's going up on the ceiling and bleeding. Amazing. The wall above her bed, like being made of like, rubber, and he's like above her.
So cool.
Oh my God. The hand in the bathtub. There are so many great practical effects. The blood bath out of the bed to kill Johnny. So great. But the film, other than those moments, just was a little uneven for me. Like when Freddy's chasing her down the street, he looks like 3 feet tall and he's like chasing. You're like, what is that shot? What is going on there? The crazy long arms look like, they're held by hoses. Right. So it waxes and wanes at certain spots for me.
I can only remember.
I was surprised that Friday the 13th Part 1 was as entertaining as it was to watch now. Like that movie jumped way up for me. I was like, I think this movie's
that one's subtly brilliant. That's why
it is, and I enjoyed it way more than I thought I was going to enjoy it. But it's a comedy in a lot of ways. I was laughing at it, but it was fun.
Well, I think
it's one scene in the movie that really kind of disturbed me, and like that I had a dream about. And that was in Salem's Lot, with the little boy scratching at the window. For whatever reason, that one affected me.
It just stuck with you, yeah.
Yeah, and just a kid being scared of his friend in the window, and then just something about that one.
And I'll tell you, in my hometown, I think Nightmare has a special place because that's where Robert Englund lives, and you see him around town all the time. Like as a kid, you'd go to the beach and be like, "Hey, there's Robert Englund."
He's always going to be Willie to me from V.
Well, yeah,
Willie,
but
lovable Willie.
Everybody knew like Freddy Krueger lives over there. Like that's Freddy Krueger's house. Like you just knew it, and it was not a big deal. But like you wanted to watch the movies because of it.
Yeah.
But like, there's difference between disturbing and scary. Like there's like I find like Lord of Illusions is really disturbing.
Sure.
Like I love that movie, but it's disturbing. Like the fact that like the one scene where the guy's leaving the house and he had just murdered his family and they're just laying there, that's disturbing to me.
It sticks with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not scared of it, but it's disturbing.
Right.
Yeah. There's movies that are unsettling.
I don't think jump scares count because it's a startle. It's not fear. It's just like, there's that.
I think we sometimes label all horror as just one box, and there's clearly a lot of things going on there with psychological horror, and now there's like body horror and all these kinds of things. I think there's so many gradations, and to dismiss it all because you're like, I don't like horror. I had a great discussion with my friend Alec Whitewell Comics, and he's like, look, the movies, comics, whatever, it's all about like experiencing emotion within a safe framework, whatever that emotion is. It's romantic comedy. You want to feel love inside of a safe space, right? Obviously, horror is to trigger our fear response or our disgust response within that safe space. Some people are not comfortable with feeling fear. They've maybe lived trauma in their lives, and feeling fear is not comfortable for them.
And I think the horror genre is one of the ones where sound design is most important.
Oh my God. But being able to expose yourself to fear within the safe space and be like, you know what, I can be okay with being afraid within that framework. Some kinds of horror are going to be hitting too close to home, and others are going to be a great escape in some way, right?
Yeah.
I have one emotion left. I don't want to use it.
I don't even think you have that one, buddy. It's like umami. I don't believe it exists.
I know. It's like me trying to manifest submissive masculine boys. It's just so hard. It's just so difficult.
I believe it is hard.
And I need them in my life so they can take direction to help me work through my trauma over and over and over again.
That's a win-win.
But great episode, guys. I'm gonna go around. We'll say what everyone's got coming up. Jim,
I have a video dropping Saturday. I bought some stuff from Mon Comics and Colossus Collector. I was watching it before the show, and it has an issue, so I may be going back to the editing board. But it will drop at 1 o'clock on Saturday before Only Slabs. People, you can take 5 minutes to watch it at 1 o'clock.
Chuck?
I'm over with Joe tomorrow on Anachronic Comics. So we'll be over there showing off some great books and stuff, and that'll be fun. So
Espresso mail call?
No, it's the comic book crowd. So
okay.
So yeah.
Cliffy?
Saturday morning at 10 a.m. I've got Comics and Coffee with Cliff. So and this week Old Wolf is my guest.
Oh,
nice.
I'm very excited. And then the following week I will have Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics on, so we could talk C3.
Nice.
And I guess I have so many other Tuesday nights I will be on with Paul and the 619, and I'll be that panel guest that night. That should be really interesting. With Trev the shipping guru and several other people whose names are all escaping me right now. Forgive me. I still love the stick up people community.
I don't know. I recently saw a video that says different.
Well, I also saw there was a lot of traitorous whores in that video. So,
Wait, who you calling a whore?
At least 3 of you.
Yeah.
Don't worry, Chuck, you're safe. So,
You sure about that?
You don't know.
Chuck, your early AARP membership assures me.
I don't think so.
Lord have mercy.
That was a callback to earlier when someone offered to take a discount.
I'll take it.
And we'll get to John last, as we do with the guests. So next Tuesday we have our third action figures show with Scotty Vaughn.
Nice.
And then on Thursday we have Stu back with In the Hot Seat.
Nice.
So I still got to find the co-host for next Thursday. So I'm going to be doing that.
Who do you have coming to the hot seat?
Dr. Doom's Fan Club, Stu. Interview show.
Oh, you should totally follow him. I love Stu. He's amazing.
He's a good guy.
He's fantastic. I'll hook you up on Instagram.
Send me a link. Send me a link.
Yeah, I got you, Cliff. I got you.
Cliff, if you can be here next Thursday, I'll take you.
Listen, I got so many horrible things going on in my life. I don't know.
That's okay.
I would love to, but I think that's I don't even know. My car's in the shop. My teeth still have to be pulled. Everything's in the air. I don't know how I'm going to react. Everyone gives me a different story about, pulling a wisdom tooth and all this stuff. You may lose feeling in your tongue. Who the hell wants to hear that? My mom's friend in Florida had something done to her wisdom tooth. She can't feel part of her tongue. She won't let me. You want to know what gives me nightmares? Not Freddy Krueger. No, my mom's friend telling me about how she can't feel parts of her tongue since her oral surgery. That's giving me nightmares.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine, buddy. Don't worry.
I've never heard that about that. John, what's coming up for you, sir?
So just last night, I was on my channel. If you guys want to catch the rewind, we were talking about Ms. Marvel, Chris Claremont, Greatness, me, and JP Budget Collecting. So if you want that, that's the most recent thing on my channel.
I got to watch it because I love that series.
We were very hard on how we felt like it started. It is up and down, and the stuff that's great we loved, and the stuff that's
and they
not
changed
by Claremont at the beginning, and her split mind, and now she's a freaking editor of a women's magazine and not a soldier, and and of course it includes Avengers 200, which is one of the worst comics ever made. Oh my god!
Or she gives birth to that freaking alien baby, and then we just forget about it.
She has,
isn't that what Scott Lang?
Avengers 200 is when she gives birth to her
Marcus.
To her son.
Yeah, that one's that storyline's dumb.
It's awful.
Yeah,
it's an awful.
I was like, is this the one where he's also her lover, something crazy?
Yes.
The father and the baby all
has been done so dirty.
It's bad.
Someone needs to celebrate her. Truly celebrate her. You know
how much I love Carol. She's one of my favorites.
Maybe 2. Just saying.
So that was last night. You can catch the replay. It was like an hour and a half. And then next Friday, I should be doing another one of my fairy smut book chats, Sarah J. Moss books with Bearded Comic Bro and No Good Comics. We've been reading these fantasy novels that have got a little spice to them, popular with our wives, and we're like, let's try it out. So it's like a boys book club reading fairy smut. So we've done 2 of these shows together. It's Beards and Bourbon. So come and hang out.
You read smut? Undignified.
I know. Who would ever write such things?
I know. Yes, take the kids.
Even more undignified people.
This guy right here.
Nope, not that guy at all.
No,
Look.
nothing about bulging protrusions and symbiotes.
Now,
You know.
John, on that omnibus, I don't know if you noticed because I had that omnibus too.
Okay.
We put her in her Captain Marvel uniform, which is nowhere in that entire
Yeah,
book.
we commented on the awful.
Like, why would you make that the cover?
Yeah, it's clearly name recognition, right? They wanted people to recognize the character that's most often been looked at that way. Personally, I love her second costume, right? The lightning bolt and the sash belt.
The lightning bolt. Oh yeah, it's the best.
Although I don't know if you've seen this cover, Gary. This is one of my favorite Carol Danvers covers.
Yeah, I have that cover. Mark
Brooks.
Yes, you do have that cover. I wonder who pointed you to that cover.
I know, right?
I grew up with her as binary, so for me, the binary costume is always like right there near the top. But then Ms. Marvel Lightning Bolt is phenomenal. So
it is. It's the best. And the Michael Turner cover on issue 1 of that run is amazing.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And I sent that in. I had a 9.8 candidate, and they can't tell me they didn't drop it. It came back with the top left hand corner bent, and it came back a 9.0. I'm like, that did not have a bend in it, or else I wouldn't have sent it in. Oh. I looked it over. My comic shop looked it over, and then we sent it in. There was no bend in it when I sent it out.
That's disappointing.
Yeah.
That's frustrating.
When it came back, I was fuming. I'm like, they dropped this.
Yeah, for sure.
Magic Lasso Ryan. That cover is still available on oh my God, Comic Shop Manhattan. They're
my comic shop.
Not my comic shop. No, they're bigger. Comic New York City.
Mile High. Mile High Comics.
Midtown.
Midtown. Thank you, Digger Jim. Thank you.
Mile High is in Colorado.
I don't know.
Mile High is everything that is not in New York. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I knew the name. I guess was not hitting me.
Midtown.
Yeah.
Okay, go check Midtown, Ryan.
DJ Lynx goes there all the time.
And Kevin, I agree. Akatar is not porn. It's definitely Skinamax, but it's entertaining Skinamax. I'm down for it. I'm there for it. We're having a good time reading these and chatting about them.
Well, see, now you're going to send me down nostalgia like Skinamax. I remember Emmanuel in space.
Oh, God.
I'm not going to say yes or no to it. I'm just going to nod and be there for you.
Oh, we all know what it was. All right, guys. Everybody, thank you so much. Super appreciate everyone being here. We had a great crowd come out and support John tonight.
Yes.
Thank you guys for showing up.
Thanks,
a couple new names to the channel. Thank you guys very much for all the new people that tuned in. But of course, John, you know it's always a pleasure having you. And my 3 co-hosts, always a pleasure as well. Thank you guys so much. The show is not anything without all the people that aren't me. All right, because I'm the weakest part of the show, and it's always great to have you guys. So thank you guys so much. And to all the people that always tune in, we certainly appreciate you guys. And as I like to end this thing, we're going to give it a keep it casual and